When I enter this room, I feel the power. All of you possess that power. Every one of you possess the power to change lives. Where you derive that power from and what you do with it may differ. But the important thing and the common thread is that you find the power, you embrace the power, and you share the power. This is the message that we weave into every one of our programs on team motivation, practice growth, and treatment acceptance. You are all leaders. The greatest path to changing lives is to develop the ability to be a leader. Many of you know I'm a golfer. And one of the greatest lessons I've learned about leadership came from a caddy at the Pinehurst Golf Course, one of the most storied courses in the country. The caddy's name was Willie McRae. Willie McRae is 82 years old. He's been caddying at Pinehurst since the age of 7. 75 years carrying bags. He has carried the bags for every great champion who's ever played the game. And there are pictures of him in the clubhouse to prove it. And he has a story for every hole. We were walking up to my ball on the second hole, and Willie said to me, "I remember 1951, I was on the bag for Ben Hogan. His ball was in the same place your ball is in right now. He used an 8-iron. He put that ball 6 inches from the pin. I saw you swing on the first hole. You should use a 5-iron and pray." And Willie's a philosopher. Later on in the round, I hit a bad shot. As I went to hand Willie my club, he said, "Katz, you want to know why you hit a bad shot there?" And I just knew Willie was going to tell me. He said, "Katz, you have feces at the end of your club." And I went to look at the club face. He said, "No, Katz, the other end." I was the feces at the end of the club. See, as leaders, we must learn not to place blame and to make excuses. We need to lead by example and inspire our teams and our patients and everyone we work with to do the things that can make them successful and to help them grow. Sometimes we learn and develop the power from those who work around us. My clinical assistant for 19 years is Denise. Denise is both brilliant and beautiful. She is empowered, and she empowers me. Recently, she attended one of our presentations, and ironically, the last doctor she worked for was in that audience. And during our first break, the doctor came up to us and said that his practice was struggling. He had to cut down some of his team. He had shortened his schedule. Things really weren't going very well, and he wanted to know whether we would help him, and we engaged him after the presentation. But on the drive home that night, Denise rode with me. And along the drive, I turned to her and I said, "Dee, it's a good thing you came to work in our practice, because if you were still working for the other doctor, you might not have much job security now." But Denise is empowered. She turned to me and said, "On the contrary, Steve, if I was still working for the other doctor, he probably would have been the one giving the lecture today, and you might have been in the audience." We must embrace the power that we have to influence others. One of my favorite indulgences is having my shoes shined. And I learned a tremendous lesson about leadership and inspiring others and having purpose at the ADMC meeting last fall. It came from the shoe shine man in the Marriott Marquis Hotel, Lionel. Lionel was a perfectionist. He spent a half hour with every client, and he engaged in lively conversation. I waited 45 minutes. And when I got up into his chair, he bowed. He asked me my name and what I do, and he said it was his pleasure to serve me. I complimented him on the amazing job he had done in shining the gentleman's shoes who was right before me. And he said, "I do not just shine shoes. I make successful men and women more successful." I asked him to explain. He said, "The men and women who come to this hotel are here for important business and political meetings. When they step down from my chair and they see their shoes shine, they have a little livelier step and they have more confidence. They make a greater impact in their meetings later in the day." That's what we do in dentistry. We make people look better, feel better about themselves. We give them confidence of social and business relationships. We change their lives. Once we find that power and we embrace that power, we need to share the power. Jeanette was a patient of mine for many years, but she was never able to have dentistry done because she was constantly caring for her only child, a terminally ill son. It was a rare form of cancer. There were no known treatments for it, and everything that he had done was experimental, so insurance did not pay for it. She exhausted her life savings with her husband. She mortgaged her house to the hilt, and unfortunately, in the spring of 2012, Jimmy passed away. 6 months later, Jeanette and her husband lost their home and their cars to Hurricane Sandy. And to make matters worse, in December, her husband was diagnosed with cancer. Jeanette certainly didn't have anything in her life to smile about. But my team and I decided that we were going to devote 2013 to giving her something to smile for. So we decided to do a full-mouth reconstruction for her at no charge. It was a tremendous endeavor. There were many extractions, multiple implants, full-mouth crown and bridge, probably valued between $85,000 and $100,000. People pay us a lot of money to do dentistry, but no appointments I've ever had in my career were more fulfilling than each time that Jeanette would come in. And I remember the last appointment when we were cementing her 6 cosmetic anterior crowns, the feeling that we all had. I handed her the mirror, but she didn't look in the mirror. She put the mirror down in her lap, she looked up, and she put the biggest smile on her face you'll ever want to see. She was smiling at the first time at Jimmy because she was always too embarrassed to smile at him when he was alive. You see, we really change lives. Dentistry is an amazing profession. We change lives, we change people how they feel. Each of you has that power in this field. So what I would like you to do, just for a minute, is please stand up. And I'd like you to repeat after me. I have the power. I have the power. I have the power to change lives. I have the power to change lives. Find your power, embrace that power, and share the power. Thank you.